Mr. Holmes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
David, how are you?
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. And we have, the first up is the oath of office for our new council member. So you can, do you want him down front?
Sure.
Yeah.
Papers here, not.
Yep.
There he is. So you raise your right hand and I'll get you started, but just kind of continue on with what's on there, okay? I
Bruce Johnson, have been appointed to the office of Alderman Ward 3 within the city of Brandon, South Dakota. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the state of South Dakota, and all local ordinances of the city of Brandon, and that I will faithfully and impartially do the best of my ability to perform all duties of my said office, Alderman, according to law.
Okay. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you.
Happy to have you on the council. All right. Next on the agenda is roll call.
Clark. Here. Fish.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Jorgensen.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
Steen.
Here.
Mayor Buck.
Here. Look for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes for the September 1st briefing meeting and the September 6th regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of claims on page 12 and then 12 through 14. Any questions?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and second to approve the claims. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent calendar. Do we have anything?
Just the wage adjustment for Nick Gunderman.
Okay, that's, yeah. We have a wage adjustment for Nick Gunderman.
Second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The visitors and timed items. This is an opportunity for people that would like to address the council on anything that's either on the agenda or not on the agenda. And we'd like to limit it to a maximum of 5 minutes. So if we have someone that would like to address the council, come on up. Give us your name and your address.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Holmes. Push to talk, okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Holmes, and I'm from Sioux Falls. I am currently a candidate for the Minnehaha County Commission, and due to our meeting that we had a few weeks ago, you alerted me to this opportunity, so I've decided to take advantage of it. And before I begin, I must wish my friend and former student David Cole good luck in his election. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
One of my favorite teachers, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't pay him to say that either. As I said, I'm running for the Minnehaha County Commission. I taught in Sioux Falls for a long time, taught social studies, retired several years ago, ran for the state legislature successfully, served a couple of terms. I've been out now for a while and was encouraged to run for the county commission, and I decided to do that. I've always had a desire for public service. I do a lot of volunteer work in this community. One of the places I volunteer is a Doherty Hospice, if you're familiar with that. And it's not unusual for me to go there and see people lying there who are basically waiting to die, people who are younger than I am. And I think to myself, you know, why do I have my health? Why do I have my strength? There must be a purpose for it. I could do whatever, self-indulge, or I could do something to give back to the community. And so that's my main motivation for running for the county commission. To help me prepare for that role, I have been interviewing all the commission department heads. I found out a lot of information. You know, you don't know much about some things, even though they're right in your backyard, until you take the time. And I've discovered in Sioux Falls, and I'm sure the same is true here, we have some wonderful people working for us in the county. And they do great work for us, and most of them we wouldn't even know. But they're tremendous, they're dedicated professionals, and we're certainly grateful to have them in that role. I've also attended most every commission meeting, and I've been going around to towns like this and meeting with the city councils. I'll be out in Hartford tomorrow night. I'll be in Del Rapids here in another hour or so. So I've been trying to do what I can to learn as much as I can about the job so that if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, I can, as they say, hit the ground running. So once again, my name is Tom Holmes. I'm a candidate for the Minnehaha County Commission, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for stopping in.
And now, I have some cards. I just passed those out.
Sure.
Or should I hand them to somebody? Okay.
Does anybody else want to speak to the council at this point? We do have a public hearing coming up too on the home occupation. If we don't have anybody else, we'll move on to the public hearing. We have an appeal of home occupation permit 16-34.
Mayor, I would just remind the council that this is not a time to take new testimony or evidence. So the members, if you want to allow somebody to speak and make an argument, they can, but it can't be based on any new testimony or evidence. That's what our ordinance provides.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak to this? Step up. Yep. There you go.
Colin Barron, 1109 East Lark Street. This is in regards to the conditional use permit for Mr. Reese. The thing that I want to reemphasize to the council is that this has already gotten turned down 6-0 against. I live right next door to Mr. Reese. I have 6 bedrooms within 50 feet of what I assume is going to be his entrance to this business. His business of selling guns out of a residential house does not fit with any of the residential normalcies, I guess, that would be going on in a residence. If you guys choose to approve this, you guys will be changing the atmosphere of residential neighborhoods forever by allowing people to sell essentially anything. One of the things that Mr. Reese had pointed out in his argument is that his business hours are intended to be from 6 to 9 p.m. at night and on weekends, but by appointment only. So I don't know how many appointments he might schedule, but 6 to 9 p.m. in a residential neighborhood does not fit in with normal business hours. If the weekend is something that he's trying to do some selling on, I understand that, but it doesn't fit in to a residential neighborhood and the atmosphere that goes along with that residential neighborhood. An FFL license is something that allows you to receive guns, as far as I understand. The purpose for the FFL is to provide somebody a service so that I can buy a gun, I can ship it to you, you have an FFL license, I can now come to your residence and pick it up from you. I've already paid for that gun. He has indicated that he intends to sell these guns for a profit. So that would mean the FFL is not the main purpose of the business, it is the secondary purpose. So he can sell a service, which is allowing a gun to show up at his house and for somebody to receive it there. If he's going to make a profit on that gun, that turns into the sale. That isn't a coincidental sale, it isn't an incidental sale, that is the main purpose for that purchase. I don't think this type of a business fits into the neighborhood. I think it's the wrong type of a business to allow into a neighborhood. The other thing I would simply point out is that the football field is right down the street. So is this actually completely outside of the ordinance which says no guns within 1,000 feet of the school property? Not exactly sure, but it's something I think you guys need to consider as to whether that's the appropriate place to have a business that is selling guns that close to the school. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to address the council on this issue?
Julie Gotsleben, I'm at 1101 Lark, right next door to Steve. We can't say anything more new. I kind of winged it last time, so hopefully I stick with what I remember saying. I guess my first question is, did everybody have a chance to review the video that we had for that meeting? Yes? You did not. So then it makes it a little harder on our end. The first time we were here, we had the whole room full of neighbors. Unfortunately, tonight, a lot of them had other plans. One had a birthday party, another one had family from Hawaii. So we were very well represented. Several of us got up and spoke. Part of what, since everybody but one person reviewed the video, you kind of know what we've all had said. Connor kind of re-uttered a lot of that information. I guess part of my thing from being from Steve's letter back to Patrick after our first meeting was that he felt that he could exercise his Second Amendment rights. To me, the Second Amendment rights is to keep and bear arms. I don't think it's a right to sell arms. You may correct me if I'm wrong. If I would like to own a gun, I would be using my Second Amendment rights because I bought the gun, it's in my home, it's in my safe. That would be the Second Amendment. Is that not correct? Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up because that was in his letter. The other part of the safety, I had mentioned in my note that I'm a nurse, and my whole career has been to save lives and to keep people safe. That's what we as nurses kind of do. And he pointed out in his letter to Patrick after our meeting was that he had a lot of, for his safety, he has a lot of cameras set up around his house. Okay, does that mean he has the knowledge that, hey, there probably will be a problem, and now he's helping to protect himself to find out who's breaking into his house? Does that mean all of us other neighbors have to invest in cameras as well? So we will be protected for that next person that gets the wrong house and comes to our door? Or now that the awareness is coming to the neighborhood, different type of clientele than just people coming to your house to play ball in the backyard or have a picnic. It's not the same clientele. And we don't live in the same world that we used to live 20, 25 years ago. A lot has changed. So we need to be more on that type of safety issue. I have the grandkids all the time. I want to keep them safe. And that's what I had kind of addressed in that meeting as well. So yes, he has the cameras, so now do I have to add the expense to have more cameras around too, to hopefully deter somebody from breaking into our home? Because when there's money available and there's guns available, those are the people that usually get I mean, they're not coming to steal, you know, a TV set. Noise, we did talk about noise. He kind of pointed out a lot about the noise. His plan is just to have 1 to 2 people at a time at his appointments, and so he doesn't feel that that would be any noise problem. The people coming to his door probably won't, but anytime you walk up on his driveway or even to the mailbox, you know, his dogs they're aware that somebody different is even partially close, let alone right to their door.
Excuse me, is this new information?
I'm going off of what his letter was to you after the meeting. So I thought I could address, since he was able to address it, I thought I was able to address that as well.
As long as it's new information, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, excuse me.
It can't be new information.
It can't be new information.
So the
Excuse me.
dog barking part was new information. So you can
Okay.
take that out. All right, and like Connor says, I hope that, you know, we want to keep it as a residential area. We do not want it as a commercial neighborhood. We want to keep it as a residential neighborhood.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Dan Mostek, 1112 Lark Street, neighbor of Steve's across the street. There's just a couple things. I won't be redundant in what has already been said. However, would like to point out to the council that there's a couple things within the existing planning and zoning ordinance that he does not comply with. And it's already been reiterated with the planning and zoning minutes that you might have had a chance to read. But the general compatibility with adjoining properties and other property within the district, that is certainly not compatible with our residential area. The second thing is that the goals and objectives of your comprehensive plan are not being met by this type of business within a residential area. And that was also stated as such within the planning and zoning minutes that have already been provided to you. I would encourage you to listen to your planning and zoning, and I would respectfully request that you deny his appeal this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Other comments? Okay, seeing any other comments from the council?
Can I ask for clarification what our options are exactly this evening?
One, you can uphold the denial by P&Z. You can approve the appeal by the applicant, and that needs to be by 4 or 2/3 vote. You can also send it back to P&Z for reconsideration with or without a recommendation. That also requires a 2/3 vote.
Anything else from the council?
I guess my question would be, how prevalent is this in Brandon that we have retail running out of a residential neighborhood? How often does this come to P&Z? And over the years, I know, Tim, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards you and your expertise and wisdom being on the P&Z for 15 years. Do we do this quite a bit where we have a lot of conditional use for what seems to be more of a residential use? I'm trying to take guns, whatever he's selling out of the picture, and just, okay, is this common that we allow in a residential R1 zoning district a conditional use to sell retail?
No. No, actually. So when the P&Z considered this, they didn't consider the product that was being sold. They considered how it was being sold, whether it was retail or whatever. We have a gentleman that came in here a couple of years ago who was going to hand dip paint gun stocks and guns. He was bringing them into his house. He was painting them. He was sending them back out. So we actually do have a gun business running out of somebody's house that they came to the P&Z for. So it wasn't about the product that was being sold, it was that it was a retail space. So we don't hear a lot of conditional uses for retail, although I would say that there are probably a whole lot of them operating illegally in the city of Brandon. I don't know for sure, but anybody who sells a direct market, a Tastefully Simple, a Rubbermaid, a Tupperware, any of those products, theoretically, you're running a business out of your house. So, you know, if you're doing a direct marketing party at night in your house and you invite 12 neighbors over, should you theoretically have a conditional use? I mean, I could be wrong, but I think you probably should. They don't come before us, and we don't always know about all of those. It's kind of unfortunate. The FFL license is probably more important, to be very honest, than the conditional use that he applied for. I would assume, and I'm not a lawyer, but I would assume the penalties for selling guns illegally is a lot more from the federal government than what a conditional use is in the city of Brandon. Right? So, to answer your question, no, we don't get a lot of them. Most of the conditional uses are for a service. It's for a service like a daycare, it's a service like a hair salon, it's a service, industry, accounting, something of that nature. We don't get a lot of requests for retail inside of people's houses. Does that answer your question?
Piggyback on that question, so hairstylist. There's actually quite a bit of money to be made on the retail side of a hairstylist. Shampoos and conditioners at salons are not cheap. If they're a stylist that sells other products or has a tanning bed and tanning products or sells crimpers or hair dryers. There's a hair dryer made by Dyson that goes for over $400. Isn't that exciting? My point is, how do we handle those when we're giving a conditional use for a hairstylist that we know is selling retail, or a photographer? I'm just asking because I don't know the answer to this. A photographer who's making a lot of money from a wedding package or senior pictures. I mean, the prints are, if it's still that way, I haven't bought pictures in a long time, but that's where a lot of the money is. I just want to make sure we're being fair. I don't know what the right answer is. I think it's a really tough subject, but how do we handle those, Tim? Or Patrick, or Brian, or Lisa?
Go ahead, Patrick.
So the hard part would be where the line is drawn. Probably what would need to take place is we are complaint-based. Paul will investigate if we receive a complaint that someone's doing something they shouldn't. So someone in a situation where it becomes more of a, I'm selling products and the salon is my means of displaying my product, someone would probably need to come to Paul and present the situation is different than our understanding of it. And since retail sales have to be expressly permitted in the conditional use permit, then that may require some internal review on where that line is and whether it is now retail sales with a small service component versus the other way around. So it's not a clear-cut line.
Do conditional use permits ever get modified after they're issued, or is it you have to start the application process all over again?
I think there's...
Theoretically, they could be. If a business changes, they could come in and modify their original conditional use. Process would be the same. Application, public hearing in front of planning and zoning.
But I don't believe we would alter it. Once they apply for and get a conditional use from us, then that's what it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Neighbors complaining if the scope of the business changed, that could prompt it to need to happen.
But the neighbor complaining thing, I mean, that also holds true to all of our zoning ordinances, whether you put a parking pad, whether you put an addition on your house. you know, we have a department full of one human to do all that stuff. So really, unless somebody complains about it, he's not going to come out and drive every street in Brandon looking to see if the parking pads are in compliance, or whether or not the additions are in compliance, or whether or not somebody's selling hair salon products out of their house. So, I mean,
I get it, but somebody had, I think it was maybe a letter that was referenced, was worried that we'd open the door for the business to evolve and become anything once they got in, so that probably wouldn't be the case.
Does the applicant have the federal license? Seems like that would make a difference.
No, I don't have the FFL yet. I thought the correct process would be first to attain permission to establish a business, and then at that point, go ahead and go through everything else that was required. So that would entail getting the FFL.
Okay. Any other comments?
I do appreciate that he came in to do things the correct way. I don't believe that everybody who is currently running something in their house has done it the correct way. I mean, I can't say that for certain, but it's a pretty good chance. So I do feel bad that because he's doing it the right way, we're almost actually punishing him for doing the right thing.
Can I point out?
But I will also say that we do have rules in place in the city of Brandon, and you have to follow them. So when you do come before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they deny your conditional use, they did follow the rules. So whether everybody's doing it or not, I can't say that, but when you do come before us and they want to follow the rules, and the P&Z did the right thing. So.
Okay.
Can I point out one thing?
Sure.
My understanding is approximately 28 notices were sent out. Of those 28, less than 33% of those recipients attended the P&Z committee, and even less are here today.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I guess my take on this would be that I may not watch the meeting online because I sat through the meeting for 2 hours, so I didn't feel like I had to relive it. But I am not about to go against the P&Z on this one, so that's just my take.
If there's no other discussion, I'll listen for a motion.
So this is tough, but when I think of being fair and I hear of other retail businesses in people's homes, and we know about them, and we've issued them conditional use permits, and we know there's sizable dollars being generated, and they're going through the motions, I would like to see it go back to P&Z with a compromise. I think that most of these concerns could be addressed. The recommendations I would make would be for it to be contingent on the FFL, contingent on the sales tax license, having set hours. I mean, I understand these conditional use permits can be about anything. I mean, we could have a gross sales limit on it, couldn't we? So if it got to be a larger business, couldn't it be capped to where that's the cutoff and it needs to get out of a house? And it needs to, because some concerns are dealing with this being a large operation and lots of traffic and lots of activity. I don't know. I don't feel it's fair. I think that there's a way to compromise, so that I would make a motion for those suggestions to go back.
So we have a motion to go back to planning and zoning for reconsideration. We have a second?
Not a second. I guess I just have I guess I'm a little confused. So are there other residential neighborhoods where there's currently retail sales going on that has gone through the city and gotten the conditional use?
We'd have to go back and look at the conditional use permits that are out there, or the home occupation permits that are out there.
And I don't think that was testimony that was presented at P&Z, so that's not something that, you can send it back to have consideration of that, but you can't base your decision on if he answered the question. So,
If it went back to them, could they research that to determine what precedent's been set?
if you sent that recommendation back. So if you're going to remand, you remand either with recommendations or you just remand without recommendations. But if you want recommendations, then you need to specifically list those for them to consider.
Okay, I would amend my motion then to include the research into precedents.
Okay, we've got a motion. I haven't heard a second.
I guess yeah, no, I don't have a second. I guess my, where I get a little bit, again, I agree. I think what I hate it when planning and zoning denies it and it comes back to us and going against planning and zoning. So I don't feel like, even in this scenario, we should go against planning and zoning necessarily. However, I do hear what Dana's saying, that the last thing I want to is that there is some sort of precedent that's already been established in the past, which again, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, and that we're denying something that we've given somebody else in the past. And again, I'm not, put guns aside, because obviously I know that's a hot topic. If you put just everything else aside, what have we done in the past with retail in a residential, giving them a conditional use?
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because if we haven't done it in the past, then I'm happy to say no.
Okay, not hearing a second. Do I have another motion?
I'll make the motion to uphold the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second to approve planning and zoning recommendation.
Okay, I'm just going to, in my time in Brandon, I don't know of any retail sales that are coming through the house that have a conditional use permit. I'm aware of some hair salon work that's done. I've got one across the street. I think there's probably some incidental sales of shampoo, and I don't know about hair dryers, but
Let's keep moving here.
I can't think of anything else. And what it comes down to is, for me, it's the retail side of it. If you grant this, then we grant other things, and then we do set the precedents. I'm not aware of any precedent. I've sat in these meetings since 2008, and I cannot recall anything along this line of retail sales specifically out of a house. And so that's kind of where I'm at on it. I don't want to set a precedent with this. And guns don't have anything to do it. It's anything that regards retail sales.
So Dave, can I ask why you're not willing to just take a pause for one meeting and make sure there's no precedent, rather than you don't recall any? Because I don't think you've attended a lot of P&Z meetings where those get discussed. I don't recall any in my time either, but I feel like we should be sure.
So I've attended most of those over the last 15 years, and we've allowed for some light manufacturing, we've allowed for spraying of things, we've allowed for even making of ice cream. I don't remember approving in the conditional use just a straight retail business, of anybody who's applied for one anyway.
This isn't a straight retail business either.
Yep.
There was a lot of discussion at the P&Z meeting about the services being provided. And one of the members even was really struggling with whether or not it was a service business versus a retail business.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote.
Clark?
We're not positive, but it will be a nay.
Fish?
So just to follow, we are voting to send it back?
No, we're voting to uphold the denial.
Oh, uphold the denial. I will say yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jorgensen?
Aye.
Cole?
Aye.
Steen?
I'm gonna go aye, but again, precedent that I'm a little apprehensive on the whole, not knowing for sure what we've done in the past, but I completely wholeheartedly support what P and Z does. Yep.
Motion carries.
Carries.
The next topic on the agenda is the Resolution 27-22, special assessment.
Correct, it's a $375 special assessment for unpaid nuisance abatement for specifically mowing. And they have not paid.
They have not paid as of today, and is there anyone in the audience, I guess, I would like to speak to this? Take that as a no. Well, send it to the county, and then the county will collect it on property taxes.
We need an approval.
We need approval.
Look for a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Sioux Metro Growth Alliance report.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. My name is Jesse Fonkert, 610 Part T Drive, Hartford, South Dakota. I have the pleasure of serving as the President and CEO of the Sioux Metro Growth Alliance. We are a regional economic development organization that the City of Brandon has been a part of since roughly 1991. We are a creature of a combination of a merger of the Lincoln County Economic Development Association and the Minnehaha County Economic Development Association, commonly referred to as Lakita and Makita. We merged in spring of 2021, and we've been working on really refining our programming and the tools that we have to offer our members. Our members are primarily the municipalities around Sioux Falls and Lincoln County, Minnehaha County, and McCook County. We just recently expanded in McCook County this year, and our long-term objective is to serve all 4 counties in what is designated as our MSA, or our metro statistical area around Sioux Falls, which is Lincoln, Turner, and Minnehaha and McCook counties. As you have in front of you today is kind of our pledge of support for what we do for our communities. We were often asked, what do you do as an organization? We said, what do you want us to do as your organization? And so we put it on paper as a way for communities to know when to call us, how to call us, what exactly we do. And so I'll go through this rather quickly and save some time for any questions you might have about our organization, our partnership, but also what's happening across the region. First and foremost, we serve as a resource to your community on issues regarding growth. We attend city council meetings and county commission meetings as requested, along with any economic development organization meetings that are taking place in your community. We're able, upon request, to meet with leaders here on certain subjects and provide any advice that you might be seeking. Second, we give you a voice in the way that our regional organization is being formed and managed. Your rep today is Mr. Andrews, who is with us in the crowd. Patrick has been on the board now since he started in his position. Each year we'll be sending you a resolution to approve that appoints a board member to our board, the advisory board, which is a 1-year appointment. This allows you to exercise your right to lead our organization. Third, we work to create stronger connections across the metro. We do that through networking opportunities. We have a mayor's council that meets monthly, where we discuss issues affecting all of our communities, in which Mayor Buck has attended a number of those meetings, which we appreciate your attendance and input as well. Along with our Gold Shovel Golf Classic, one of our favorite spots to host that is here in the city of Brandon. We hope to be back here in 2025, I believe, if you allow us. I know things are getting pretty busy out here, so we're staying in touch. We also host an annual conference called the Grow Smarter Conference. We'd like to host it in Brandon in 2023 if we continue to host that. The conference is devoted to educating its attendees on best practices in economic development. We also host a bus tour every year for Minnehaha County, in which we bring commissioners, mayors, and interested parties around the region to learn about what's happening outside of Sioux Falls in our towns. We advise on community development issues. We meet with startups and conduct a business retention and expansion program. We work closely with prospects. We are one of the founding partners of the Corson Industrial Park back in 2000, which is recently closed. Congratulations again on Henkel Manufacturing's expansion. Those are the type of businesses that we'd like to see expand across the metro. We assist with community development, industrial development, and residential development. Historically, we have not really played much in the residential game, but workforce is a key issue, and housing seems to be one of the biggest challenges to growing our workforce. We work on business and workforce attraction, and we added a new program where we can manage economic development organizations for our communities. These are our core areas of work. Our board is continually finding ways to improve our offerings so that we can meet your needs. We know that having the same program year after year doesn't always fit a community's needs because our communities are changing and growing. And we are always wanting to listen to your input about how we can be a better organization and how we can better serve the interests of you and your citizens. With that, I'll take any questions you might have about the organization, the region, and my personal efforts to grow the workforce. We just had a kid 4 months ago, so we're doing our part. She'll be ready to work in about 14 years, as long as the government allows her to work at age 14 in those days. That's when I got my first job.
Give us a call.
Give us a call. Actually, I think I was 10. I think I was delivering papers back in Millbridge.
Teach her how to swim.
Teach her how to swim. There we go, yeah. As long as you keep raising those hourly wages for your instructors.
Any questions for Jesse?
Wow. You should. I was hoping for something from you. Well, we're a call away, we're an email away. We work to support you, and I just want to give a plug really quick for Patrick, not just because he's on the board, but because I think he is somebody that's extremely knowledgeable in both economic development and planning and zoning, and we think that those two are very intertwined. So a great move on your city's part to combine that, to have somebody that can think forward when it comes to development and having that expertise. So, Patrick, kudos to you.
I enjoyed the county tour, and I do enjoy the Mayor's Roundtable. Anytime I can make it, I'd like to be there, so.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I do have a question. So you mentioned workforce housing. I am under what I like to believe is that we already have a lot of workforce housing in our city. We just need to clean up the neighborhoods that it exists in.
Sure.
So we've taken on things like our core area, Rushmore area, because what we've learned is that trying to build a brand new structure is very expensive.
Very expensive.
And it's hard to qualify that as workforce housing.
Right.
Now, I know they're giving out grants when you do a new development. What are the grants like when you're doing a reconstruction project for workforce housing?
Great question.
Thank you.
I am not aware of any of those grant opportunities for redevelopment. Unfortunately, it seems to be the programs that are out there that were recently created by the legislature are devoted to new developments. Code enforcement is a great way to maintain affordable housing that's not dilapidated, and reconstruction is a costly expenditure. So, unfortunately, I don't think there are many that I'm aware of, unless staff are concurring with that. I think that increased density is the solution to workforce development, allowing new developments that might have smaller lots and smaller setbacks that can call smaller homes home to them. I know that can be a very contentious subject, but density does seem to help. Here's a really unpopular opinion if you want to hear it. I think trailer parks are a solution to workforce development. I know. And with that, I appreciate your membership in the organization.
I would like you to bring that to our next P&Z meeting.
I will absolutely do that, and you can laugh me out immediately. But think about it. I'm sure you know several people that are maybe very successful today that started off in a trailer park. I think they're called modular homes now. they were solutions, in the 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, there was many bad actors that didn't maintain those parks. But think about, I know a handful of people in Hartford that started off in modular homes that are now incredibly successful today. Unfortunately, again, bad actors have created a very tarnished name for those developments, and so they're very incredibly hard to cite now. It's not a good solution to workforce housing. It really isn't.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
On that note, have a good one.
All right.
In summary,
Yes.
don't miss anything I say.
Thank you. All right, old business. We have second reading of ordinance number 663, the 2023 budget. I'm sure all of you have gone through that pretty well. I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve the 2023 budget. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Standing committee reports, start with the golf course. Retaining wall project.
We got a proposed contract with Geotech for testing on the retaining wall project for $15,100.
Andrew, did anybody show up today? Did we see damage? I mean, good damage?
There's equipment there, and they removed some sponsorship bricks and signage, but that's about it today. So,
Not yet?
no, very little.
Big equipment.
All right, we need a motion for the Geotech.
Second.
Motion and a second for the Geotech testing. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Parks and Rec.
Bid for ash tree removal for the year. The low bid was submitted by Champion Tree Service in the amount of $48,795. This is for trees kind of east of Split Rock, north of Rushmore. Or Sylvan Circle, I should say.
Trees on city property.
Correct. Boulevard trees.
I'll look for a motion on that.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public safety, report on 46 through 48. Fire department report. Chief Steffel, anything?
No, sir.
Nothing from the staff?
Nope.
Administration? Communication report on page 50.
I have a couple quick things on communication. I had a resident ask for an update on the tennis court light situation. Did we get a meeting with those guys?
Devin has solicited quotes from, I can't remember the manufacturer, to look at a different timer, different types of lights, just kind of or change the system.
Awesome. Do we have any ETA on what that?
Not yet, I haven't seen anything.
Okay. And then another resident asked when we were going to be circling back to the joint jurisdiction conversation.
I'll get with Patrick.
Okay. To be continued. Okay. That's all I have.
Anything else on communication? We have the audit report, page 51 to 129. I read them all.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I really don't have anything. There's no audit findings. It was a good audit. They did have to do a federal audit because we did get several federal funds last year. Everything was good and cleared. So if you have any questions on the actual report, just reach out to me. I'm not gonna go page by page.
I can do the lights for your PowerPoint.
No, that's all right.
Need a motion to approve the audit report?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the audit report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 3, can you speak to that? An RFP on the City Hall, Council Chambers, and Golf Course Clubhouse.
Barb, would you like to wait for that discussion till you're here?
If I could, please, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll put it on the next meeting agenda.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Streets. Work report, page 131. Brandon Transit Agreement.
Yes, it's an amendment to our 5310 preventive maintenance contract with DOT for the transit system. It's just extending it for another year.
Look for a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the Brandon Transit Agreement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Core Area Phase 2 Project, Pay App, page 135 and 139. Pay App number 5.
Yep, and then just a reminder that most of the asphalt work is done out there, and we're just waiting on some concrete contractors, which are really hard to come by right now. So it's going to look like we're not working on that for the next couple weeks, but there'll be a little bit of cleanup work here and there, and we'll keep residents updated the best we can.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Motion and second to approve pay application number 5 for Core Area Project Phase 2A. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Core Area Phase 1 Project. We have a change order.
Change order and a pay application. So the change order just balances out the remaining quantities, and then the pay application pays the rest of the retainage. So that project that was constructed 2 years ago is complete.
You need 2 motions?
2 motions?
You want to? Okay.
Yep.
I move to approve the change order number 5.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the change order number 5. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve pay app number 12.
Second.
Motion and second to approve pay app number 12. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 25-22, setting the 2023 street maintenance fee.
We charge property owners $2.50 a linear foot for street maintenance costs such as slurry seal, patching, curb and gutter repair, etc. That amount is proposed not to change for 2023.
I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second to approve Resolution 25-22. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Water and sewer. Water tower project, pay app.
Work is going to slow down on the water tower as well. They are going to do some site work around the tower, and then this winter they'll be doing some work on the inside of the tower, but they will not be painting it until next spring.
Look for a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve pay app number 14 on the water tower project. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 26-22, the 23 stormwater maintenance fee.
The fee for 2023 reflects a 5% increase in the stormwater utility fee as recommended by A2S.
I'll look for a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve Resolution 26-22. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. West Side Sewer Project Pay App.
This is one project that is almost complete, so next couple months we'll be done with this one and ready to wrap it up.
We'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the West Side Sewer Project pay application. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We don't have any new business, and do we have any need for an executive session?
No.
Hearing that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Hold on.